Let's talk now about the bone cells. In general, we have four types of bone cells: osteogenic cells, osteoblasts, osteocytes, and osteoclasts. And to understand them, we will do some drawings. Now, we said earlier that bone is a connective tissue. And one of the features of the connective tissue that they are originated from embryonic cells. A subtype of these embryonic cells is called mesenchymal cells. So these mesenchymal cells are the cells that they are going to give us the bone cells in general. Now, the mesenchymal cells first will develop into osteogenic cells. If these are the indirect mother cell of the bone, then these the direct mother cell of the bone. These are always undergo mitosis. So they are constantly dividing and giving you daughter cells. Now, some of these daughter cells, so this is the first one. Some of these daughter cells will develop into something called osteoblast cells. Osteo as you know, is bone, blast like forming. So these are the cells responsible for bone forming. How do they form bone? These cells basically produce a substance called osteoid. This is gel-like material, so it's soft, it's not hard. This is the base of the matrix. Remember, bones as a connective tissue, one of the features of the connective tissue that they have the matrix. So this is the base of the matrix, the osteoid. So you can think of the osteoblast as a cell that's producing the osteoid. So this is the osteoid. Now this osteoid, technically it will be surrounding the cells. We'll draw a couple of cells. So these cells are producing, all of these are osteoblasts, and they're producing the osteoid. Now this osteoid, we said it's like gel-like material, so it's soft. However, we understand that the bone is hard. So this osteoid will turn into harder material in the presence of calcium ions. So calcium ions, when calcium ions are around, so these are like calcium ions, the osteoid will turn into bone. Now from where this calcium ions would be, it will be coming from blood. So to summarize, we have osteoid plus calcium ions will give us bone. Technically, it will give us the hydroxyapatite, the material that we talked about. Okay? But for now, we can call it bone, meaning that this is the hard material. So let's imagine that these cells, when they are around the osteoid or surrounded by the osteoid, they can move, right? However, if they are surrounded with bone, it means they are going to be trapped within the bone. So the osteoblast, in this case, that was the second type. So the osteoblast, in this case, will turn into something called osteocytes. These are the cells that maintain the bone. And these are coming from the osteoblast. So when osteoblast producing osteoid, this osteoid with calcium ions will turn into harder material. The osteoblast will turn into osteocyte. Now this osteocyte now, it's surrounded, we'll draw it in yellow, in bone. So this is hard material now. The cell cannot move. And you can imagine that we have like several cells. All of them are trapped within the bone. But these cells still need to communicate with each other. So they will be sending extensions toward each other. So one feature of these osteocytes that they have these extensions. And these extensions are called canal ecoli, like small canals. So they can exchange information between them. So these are the osteocytes. And this is the third type of bone cells. Okay, to recap, said we have the mesenchymal cells. Mesenchymal cells will give us the osteogenic cells. These are the direct mother cells of the bones. Osteogenic cells will give us the osteoblast. Osteoblast will produce osteoid, which will harden when it comes in contact with calcium. And when this happens, the osteoblast will turn into osteocytes. Okay, and these osteocytes, they have the canal ecoli. So these are the three types of bone cells. Then we have the fourth type. And the fourth type, to understand it, we have to go back to the mesenchymal cells. For the mesenchymal cells, we said this is one way that they will develop: osteogenic, osteoblast, osteocytes. The other way, so we can call this A, and the other way that some of these cells will develop into something called osteoclast cells. These are giant cells, multinucleated, and mainly they produce enzymes that absorb or break the bone. So these are bone dissolving cells. Bone dissolving cells. Why do we need to dissolve the bone? Because sometimes we need to do some repairs, regeneration, or even, as we will see later, will release calcium ions. One of the functions of the bones is that they serve as the reservoir for the calcium ions. So if we need calcium ions, these cells, the osteoclast, will dissolve the bone and release calcium ions back into the blood. So this is a summary of the bone cells. I will stop here, and in the following video we will talk about the compact and spongy bone.